What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word farming? Odds are it's a cute little garden with homegrown vegetables. But you add the words genetically modified, and suddenly it's not so cute as the carrots are now pulling themselves out of the ground and walk into your house to eat your family. But what if I told you that this is the GMO and that never even existed? I think what makes genetically modified organisms so terrifying is that people don't understand them. Doubt and fear are the great enemies of knowledge. The philosopher James Allen said that, and I think it's very true in most cases. So the way to fight fear is with knowledge. So what are GMOs? In this case, we're talking about taking specific genes from one organism and implanting it into another to change its traits. So the first thing most people are worried about is, what about the environment? One of the most well-known genetically modified crops are Bt crops. These are insect-resistant crops, and what they allow is for the farmer to not have to spray pesticides on their crops and still eliminate the key pests. Clearly, this is better for the environment because the pesticides do not dissipate into the atmosphere or the surrounding areas. One of the greatest concerns surrounding Bt crops is the possibility of insect resistance. This could result in the creation of super insects, as some people call them. This would mean that the GMO crops are no longer toxic to these pests, which would be bad for the environment because now not only do we have an ineffective but modified crop, but we now also require more toxic pesticides to kill these pests. To account for this, farmers mix conventional seed in with the genetically modified seed. This ensures a variety in the crop. What this does is it ensures that the insects are exposed to the conventional crop as well as the Bt crop, so that when they are exposed to the insect-resistant crops, they do die. It is here that a new problem arises. Suppose you have two farms next door to each other, one containing a genetically modified crop and the other an organic crop. Outside of the laboratory, you're going to encounter the phenomena of weather, which means cross-pollination. With ease, the wind can blow pollen from the GMO crop into your organic field, which is now contaminated, and any seeds that it would produce would be genetically modified. So we again come across the problem of super insects. Let's take a closer look at the science behind insect-resistant crops. First, the scientists retrieve multiple different genes from the Bt bacterium and insert them into the crop. What this does is, by using multiple genes, it would take an insect multiple different mutations to develop an immunity to these crops. So this would make super insects almost impossible. Another preventive measure that the scientists have taken is by putting the genetics in only the leaves. What this means is that even if an insect were to live off of only one genetically modified plant for its entire life, it would still be exposed to refuge plant and altered plant, because the stalk of the plant would be a conventional crop, while the leaves would be Bt crop. Another benefit of having the genetics in the leaves of the plant is that leaves are maternally inherited from the parent, which means that even when cross-pollination occurs, the pollen is not genetically modified. Finally, I came to the conclusion that genetically modified crops are very safe. The scientists have put in a lot of work and analysis into the engineering of these plants. There is no way that super insects could ever occur.